Let's call to order the June 27th special meeting of the Downtown Design Review Committee. My name is Nathaniel Harding. I'm the new chair, so a new face. So hopefully I got good help here on both sides, but looking forward to this special meeting. So thank you all for being here. To make it official, 9:30 is the call to order time, and request everybody that turn your cell phones off or on silent. Glad that note is there. Do that myself. And let's go ahead and roll call to make sure we have quorum.
Nathaniel Harding.
Present.
Anthony Black. Charles Ainsworth. Corey Bates.
Present.
Julie Kriegel.
Present.
And Deborah Richards.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Hey, do we have any members intending to abstain from any items? Any conflicts of interest? Okay, and just make sure you use your microphones when speaking so we can all be on the record. So you've all been furnished in advance the minutes from our last meeting. I'll pause, give you a moment to review those, and entertain a motion for approval.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
The Bates-Kriegel motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Minutes are approved. And I want to make I didn't see Connie walk in, so okay. We might pause if Connie Skowthorne walks in. We want to recognize her service on the board, so we'll pause if that happens. But we'll proceed ahead with the agenda as it's shown. Item number 3, cases withdrawn. We see the item that has been withdrawn by the applicant, and continuous request. We don't have any as far as the agenda shows, and nothing to show there. Consent docket. We have 2 items for consent, and give you a moment to look over those, or if there's anybody wanting to speak on those, or pull those out of the consent docket. Otherwise, we get to entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll move to approve the consent docket.
Second.
The Bates-Kriegel motion to approve the consent docket. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So that is approved. Oh. Oh, there she is. Okay, so good. I just saw Connie walk in. So we have item number 7, I believe it is other business, but we can move that to right now before we proceed ahead with cases for individual consideration. And so in our packet, we have item 7A, a resolution recognizing Connie Skowthorne for her service on the Downtown Design Review Committee. So do we have, okay. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yes, I'll read the resolution. A resolution of the Downtown Design Review Committee of the City of Oklahoma City acknowledging Connie Skowthorne for her valuable service and dedication to the Downtown Design Review Committee. Whereas Connie Skowthorne has faithfully devoted her time and expertise to serve the citizens of Oklahoma City as a Downtown Design Review Committee member from February 2013 to April 2018, and whereas Connie Skowthorne has routinely contributed to the committee through her proficient skill and expertise as a landscape architect, including adept analysis of site design, planting design, sustainability, and aesthetics, and whereas Connie Skowthorne has demonstrated uncommon dedication to the committee through her methodical attention to detail and earnest regard for the applicable standards and guidelines in the consideration of projects presented to the committee, and whereas Connie Skowthorne's sincerity, collaborative spirit, and compassionate nature have served the community well in resolving conflicts and offering sound technical and creative advice to applicants, and whereas the fulfillment of Connie Skowthorne's responsibilities to the committee was achieved with an earnest devotion to the well-being of the community and the overall betterment of downtown. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Downtown Design Review Committee hereby respectfully commends Connie Skowthorne for her outstanding years of service to the Downtown Design Review Committee of the City of Oklahoma City. Adopted by the Downtown Design Review Committee of the City of Oklahoma City on this 27th day of June, 2018.
Great, thank you.
Thank
you. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. Love to get to know you guys. So.
Well, thank you, Connie, for your service. It's been, we overlapped for a couple of years, and your contributions were great for our deliberations, so thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And we'll pass that around for signature.
Yes.
And we technically need to have a motion on this to...
You do.
make it- Okay.
I
Let's
move
hear
that
it.
we adopt a resolution recognizing Connie Skowthorne for her service to the Downtown Design Review Committee.
Second.
Kriegel Bates, all those in favor say aye. Aye. I won't even ask for any opposed. It's got to be unanimous. Okay, thanks. Thank you so much. It's fun when we get to do those things, right? So, okay, we'll proceed ahead with our regularly scheduled items here. And we have cases for individual consideration, item 6A, case number DTCA 18-00040, and that's 400 South Robinson Avenue. So, Lisa, will you describe this item to us?
Yes, this is a look at some revisions that the Omni Hotel team was asked to make at last month's meeting. It's a big project, and many things were discussed. At the end, the committee asked that the applicant study more detail on the east and south ground floor facades. It was asked that the center portion of the ground floor of the west facade be studied to add more activity and window transparency. It was asked that there was a lot of discussion about the spacing, density, and species of trees on the west facade. And then there was a lot of discussion about the pedestrian and vehicular movement along the drop-off lane on the north side. So the team has come back with some visible changes to all of these items. One, in no particular order, really. The east and south ground floor facades, those are areas of building service spaces on kind of the back corner of the building. The applicant has added some differentiation of color on the south facade, a portion of the second floor. The pattern of the horizontal reveals has changed. There's more of them. They're finer grained. So that appears to have added, they didn't add transparency, but it added character and interest in staff's opinion. So that's the south and east facades. On the west facade, the applicant clarified about this, there's like a artistic graphic into framed glass windows. So even though it is opaque, in the future it could be opened up. The applicant also described last time, if you remember, how the portion of the coffee shop wraps around the west, and the burger bar wasn't, it was kind of hard to see it in the context of the west facade, but that would add some transparency and more activity. There still is a little concern about the operating hours of the steakhouse, but in looking at this in more detail a few weeks ago, I believe that patio will be pretty animated between the coffee shop and the burger bar and the entertainment bar. It should be pretty active. That's the west facade. The trees along Robinson Avenue have been, well, the applicant described last time that their intent was to make sure that there was a clear view to the park from the rooftop amenity deck, and that's why they were trying to do shorter, kind of squattier trees that are not the same as the rest of the trees on the block. They have added 2 more trees and respaced them a little bit, which in my mind makes them makes a decision to take them out of character with the rest of the street trees, which is fine because it looks more purposeful than on accident. Then the North Streetscape, there's a lot of concern about where the valet car exit comes out and how pedestrians are going to navigate that corner safely. So the applicant has added a stop gate. They've turned part of the driveway 90 degrees to make it more of a logical transition. So I believe it flows much better than it did last time. So the applicant is here to answer any questions. Staff believes that they've fulfilled what was asked of them at the last meeting.
Thank you, Lisa. So yeah, we did have some good conversation about this last time. I don't know if there's any other questions from our committee or anything else from the applicant to highlight, but addressing these specific items and the concerns from our last meeting.
I don't have any questions or concerns. Just want to reiterate our appreciation for you guys working with us. I think all the moves made between last meeting and this meeting are helpful to the project, to getting us to a good place in the end. So thank you.
Okay, any other questions or a motion? I would just reiterate myself Corey's comments. It does appear there's been a very deliberate effort to make sure that the feedback from our last meeting was heard and adapted to. It looks like a great design, and I look forward to the next steps.
I'll move to approve the application on the basis that the project complies with the regulations and guidelines of the Downtown Design District zoning ordinance as referenced in Section C and D of the staff report.
I'll second that.
That's a Bates-Richards motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So that this case is moved on, is approved. So thank you. Okay, so moving on to item 6A, case number DTCA 18-00041. That's 100 West Reno Avenue. Laura, do you have the
Good morning.
items pulled up?
Yes.
Thank you.
So this is before you for a couple of reasons. One is the size of the Chesapeake definitely trips the size threshold. And the second is the size of the signs themselves. Most people probably don't even know there's signs up on the roof unless you watch Thunder basketball and you see them when the helicopter flies over, and that is the purpose of the signs on the roof. So I actually went into Google Earth so you see where they are. But on the ground, you can actually see pieces of it. You might look up there and say, what is that? Because it's not easy to read right now. And there's probably going to be some parts in the new park where you can see it. So this is from Hudson. When the project you approved under consent, I was out taking pictures and turned around and looked and saw it. So what they have before you is they need to replace the roof, and because they're replacing the roof, they also need to replace the signs. The signs that are up there now were approved with a CA several years ago, but these are a different size, and they also got a variance for those several years ago, but because these are going to be larger, they have to get a new variance. So that is what's before you today, and in the staff report, as we noted, this building, which has 3 street frontages and fills the entire 2/3 of the block that it's on, one could anticipate it does need larger signs than what our code currently allows, as well as the audience for this sign on the roof is from the air, and they've really got to be, it's got to be big for it to be seen. All around it, you have a lot of different development. Across the street is one of the streetcar stops. If you haven't been down there, you might do that. But staff is recommending approval with condition, obviously, because they do need a variance for the size of sign. And so we have the typical 2 recommendations in there that you are going to need to make if you recommend approval of it, subject to a condition that the applicant obtains a variance from the Board of Adjustment from the maximum allowable sign area regs, and then followed by providing a recommendation of approval to the Board of Adjustment to increase that maximum size of sign. And there is a representative here from the Public Works Department if you have any questions on what they're requesting.
Laura, the staff report notes that there are 2 potential layouts.
There are 2 layouts. There's an east-west and a north-south. And so they're only going to be allowed to put, this recommendation is for just 2 signs when they finally decide what layout they want to have. And I just wanted to point that out. We're not recommending 4 signs, 2 signs, and they've just got to select which ones they want to put them on. Obviously, now as you see it, we have Robinson here, so I guess this would be considered, I would consider this maybe more, I don't know, because this way's south and that way's north. So either they're going to be here and here, or they're going to be in those locations.
Okay, is there anything, so if this application is approved, is that defined somehow?
The way I worded, because I brought that up in the staff report. As I say, the request shows 2 potential layouts. The CA would only authorize 1 location or the other, so they're approved to put 2 signs up. They're not approved to put 4 signs up.
Okay.
And I was just talking to him today because things are kind of headed towards the final layout, kind of probably as we speak, because they need to probably get this done before the new season starts. We need some nice signs up there to be seen from the helicopters.
Great.
Thank you, Laura. Any comments from the applicant or questions from the committee?
I'll move to approve the application on the basis that the project complies with the regulations and guidelines of the Downtown Design District zoning ordinance as referenced in sections C and D of the staff report, with the conditions that A, the applicant obtains a variance from the Board of Adjustment from the maximum allowable sign area regulations.
I will second that.
It's a Bates Richards motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So that item is approved.
I'll also move to provide a recommendation of approval to the Board of Adjustment for a variance from the maximum allowable sign area regulations.
I will second that.
Bates Richards. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. That item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Corey hasn't been able to make motions for a year, so he's getting it all out of his system. Okay. So we now have item 6C, case number DTCA 18-00049, Part 2, at 800 Northwest 4th Street.
Not sure how familiar you are with that building at that location, but in the last couple of years, the property owner has invested a lot of money renovating the building. This building traditionally flooded probably multiple times a year. I've had people tell me their cars were flooded out at that intersection when you get a heavy rain. So they changed the windows, did a lot of work. The building looks really great, and so now there's a business that wants to go in there, the Social Cinema Pub, and they've come forward with a request for signage. The zoning that this is in only allows 1 sign per tenant, and there's a limitation on size. And so the proposal is for a sign to go up in this location. They're going to have some signage on the glass, and they also, their accessible entrance is over here on the side by the parking lot, and they're going to put some sign up above it. So now that I've shown you on the building where they want to put those, and let me flip through to, so this is the signage that they're wanting to put above the main entrance, and they're wanting to put the one of those manual changing message boards like you typically would see at a cinema. So they, because they're going to have, it's going to have a bar, they're going to show movies. Hunter's here, and he can describe it better than I can, I'm sure. And it also shows where they're going to have some of the signage on the glass. And then we have the dimensions for all of that. And then on the side entrance, they're wanting to put it says entrance with the star above the top. So because they want to have more than one sign, they need a variance for that, as well as to the size. Staff, although the size is, one could argue, is quite large, when you see it on the building, it actually fits with the design and the shape of the building. It's at an angle on the corner. I included all the calculations for the size of signage that they are allowed. I think it would be very interesting. It could be very inviting. And I think this is definitely a different use for this building. It started out as a car showroom. It was I believe, some type of a floral shop for many, many years, and then it's been empty for a while. So staff is recommending approval, and we spelled out in the staff recommendation, obviously, the condition that they would have to get variances for the maximum number of attached signs and maximum square footage of signs, as well as then the second one, if you agree with that, provide a recommendation of approval to the Board of Adjustment for that as well. And are you on, is today the day for Board of Adjustment? No, you're on Board of Adjustment. They're on the Board of Adjustment for the next meeting that's coming up. So they have already filed for the Board of Adjustment on that.
Thank you, Laura. Any comments from the applicant?
You need to come to the microphone.
My name's Hunter Wheat at 1312 Northwest 16th. I'm happy to answer any questions regarding the sign that you guys would like to ask.
I have a question. What kinds of things are going to go on the changeable letter marquee sign? So you're going to have shows there?
Basically, that's where we'd put like our movies and times right there. And we wanted it to be one of those interchangeable ones where you kind of hang that kind of look a little bit more classic, but like nice instead of like kind of not the plastic one that you traditionally see nowadays.
So are you going to show like multiple a week? I'm just wondering if there's, because it looks like there's like quite a bit of area for the changeable letter marquee signs. So
Yeah,
you're
I
going to
think
show a lot of things a week or?
my partner is more the analytical one, could probably answer that better, but I'm going to look for her nod. We're thinking like 3 movies during the weekdays and 4 during the weekends. So there'll be a lot of movies. Like Laura said, that it used to be an old auto shop. It was Chrysler's showroom in the front, and auto in the back, and the auto shop in the back is, we're going to turn into 2 cinemas that seat about 75 to 80 people each. And then the front of the house is going to be a full restaurant. We'll have a full kitchen, and it'll kind of be something new for the city.
So that's what I put up on the screen because I wanted to find this. So the main entrance is here. This is the angle that's on the corner where you come in. So this is the area where he was talking about they're going to have a full kitchen. And so this is the back area where they're actually like, it's set up for 2 theaters.
And so that the entrance, I'll just say on the back corner of the building
This
as
corner.
the accessible entrance.
Yeah, that's where the handicap entrance is. There's also a parking lot on that side that we've leased out. And then the other entrance is kind of on a catty corner with no parking. But it is the more elegant entrance that we definitely want to get, that we'll be promoting, and that I think will be good for the street frontage.
Okay, but both function equally as an entrance to the...
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to designate both of those doors equally, so having kind of a larger sign over the secondary entrance with the star is important facing the parking lot. And even though the sign is large, I think that it sort of adds to the atmosphere that you're trying to create. So I think I'm okay with it.
I was going to add my own commentary on that, is that it is, square footage-wise purely, it may be large, but it is kind of cut up and blocked up in a way to where it's, if you were to reorient it and just one giant rectangle, it'd look a lot different, but cut up the way it is, it seems appropriate, and especially for that kind of wide but also short area that it's using.
I agree. I think the focus really is on those colorful little pieces, and you really don't, the effect is not that it's that large. So can I go ahead and make a motion before Corey does? I move to approve the application on the basis that the project complies with the regulations and guidelines of the Downtown Design District zoning ordinance as referenced in section C and D of the staff report, with the condition that the applicant receives variances from the regulations for maximum number of attached signs and maximum square footage of signs.
Second.
Second, Kriegel Bates motion. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So that item passes.
There's another part on that.
Oh, yes.
There's, make a motion to provide a recommendation of approval for the Board of Adjustments for variances from the regulations for maximum number of attached signs, maximum square footage of signs. That on the back, right? Yes.
Second.
It's Kriegel Bates. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So that passes. It'll continue on to the Board of Adjustment. Thank you. Okay, so that brings us to item 6D, DTCA 18-00057. That's at 1033 South Walker Avenue. So Laura, what do we have here?
Okay. First of all, let me just say initially I took this in as Scenic River, and I have to apologize because I thought I-40 was the dividing line. And then as I started working on my Scenic River staff report, I went, uh-oh, it's not. It's in downtown. Because there's a small area right here along Walker that is in the Downtown Design District. So you might or might not notice this as you drive by because it kind of has been there for quite some time. For Blumenthal's, they have several different locations, and we're lucky enough that we happen to have several of them in our area that fall into either the downtown or the Scenic River Design Group. So what they're needing to do is they're having a lot of break-ins, and they're needing to install an electrified fence, which would go on the inside of the current fence. In this case, we're lucky in that first of all, the existing fence, which wouldn't be allowed today, it's already there and we can't do anything about it, but it's a solid metal fence, which means most of what they're going to install is going to be hidden behind the fence. So it will stick up 2 foot above that. And part of what they're installing is considered a front yard fence because part of this fence here is in front of the building. So that's why we have this reference to front yard versus side yard and rear yard. It would be installed on the inside of their fence. This is looking at from the back. I got real creative. I was up on the overpass there looking down. And so you can see there's actually another fence that's on the north of it, and that's the barrier that was put up for I-40. So their fence is this one. So it's going to go on the inside of that one. And you can see in this location, there's really, unless you get up to where I was, up on the, walking on the overpass, you're really not going to see most of this, because you definitely aren't going to be able to see it from 40. It's so far away. And they're currently working on the site, and yes, I know we have a pile of brush. We were talking about that today. They're getting ready to clean that up. But part of the problem they have right now is when the overpass was built, it's actually blocking the view, which actually protects people that are trying to break in, because there's an entire area down there where no one can see what they're doing. And so they need to take care of that because they end up with equipment and vehicles that are quite expensive. So the fence, as I said, is going to go inside of this one. Part of the existing fence is currently 7 foot tall, and part of the existing fence is currently 9 foot tall, and so that's why you see this different distinction in the staff report about the height, because it's going to be 2 foot taller. I happen to have stumbled upon which I included a picture in your staff report, that's that location. But when I was out driving around, I stumbled upon a picture, and I've got to, where did it go? I thought I put it in there. There's another location in the city that has, there's a location off 4th Street that actually has this type of fence in it. And I apologize. I thought I put that in there to show you what it's going to look, because you literally, it's very skinny wire, and it kind of just disappears when you see it. The only thing you really see is the vertical supports, but I think eventually they will totally disappear as well. And I do apologize because I didn't include those pictures in there. I can track them down for you if I need to. I got them in a file. But staff didn't have a problem with it from the standpoint, it's an existing business. They've been here for quite some time, and we really want them to stay. We don't want them to leave. Maybe eventually somebody might want to, I was joking that somebody might walk in someday with a checkbook and say, this is what we want to do here, and that would really be great. But until then, we'd really like the site to be utilized. It's actually part of the neighborhood. There are houses right next door, and the church is across the street, and he was telling me that the church is really excited because they're getting ready to repaint the building and do some other stuff with it. But Blumenthal's and the fence people are here if you have any questions. So staff is recommending approval, and we specify the different areas in the staff report that they're asking, and we recommend approval. They're going to need variances for 3 things. One is the fence type, which is the electrical fence. But as I said, it's on the inside. It operates off of solar panels. It is not connected to the electric, so it's not like they're getting zapped from OG&E's overhead power line. They need a variance from the material, because as you know, our fence regulations are very specific in downtown, and they need one from the height.
I do have a couple questions, if you don't mind.
Good morning. Carol Bossinger with Electric Guard Dog for the Fence.
And Harry Brown with Blumenthal Manufacturing Company.
Once, if the electric fence goes up, what happens with the existing barbed wire on the existing fence? Does that stay or does that go?
Depending upon staff's decision, it can either be removed or it can stay. Our fence, I don't recall the photos. I don't know if the barbed wire is angled in or out. If it's angled out, which it looks like it is, we can typically install without it interfering with the barbed wire. But if it's the decision of staff to have it removed, we'll have that removed at the time of installation.
If it becomes, almost irrelevant once the electric fence goes in, it would be my personal opinion that you might as well take it off. And that'll help clean up that edge of the existing fence, and then if the electrical fence is a clean line, it'll just help the overall appearance of the fence around the property.
I agree 100%. I think that's a great idea. I hadn't even considered it.
And then looking at this photo right here, I believe these are 2 swinging gates into the property. How does that work with what would be a double fence? Would the electric fence be behind the gates as well?
It is, yes. It runs concurrently with the gates. When the gates are opened, obviously there's no current. It's not functioning during business hours when people would be on the property.
Is that an operational task then to open 2 different sets of gates? Are they?
No, because we stand off of the existing gates about 3 inches. We were bracketed off, and it doesn't electrify the current gates. We're running concurrently with the perimeter, but not electrifying it. It's just our fence.
Okay.
But I also don't, the gates aren't always open, am I correct? That's correct. So here lately, they're using the facility more, and some of the overhead garage doors are open, and I've seen vehicles, but I haven't actually seen the gates open, so I don't think they're typically open all the time unless they need to move something in and out.
Right. We have 7 to 9 municipal contracts, so we handle DPS, we handle the Department of Central Services, we handle the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, we handle the DEA, drug enforcement vehicles, we handle lots of vehicles like that. So when we bring vehicles in and we have to store them until they can come into the shop, then our storage area will be behind, so the gates would be open only when vehicles are coming in and out.
And then last question, it looks like the new fence would be located anywhere between 5 and 12 inches behind the existing fence, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Is there any concern about cleaning that space between the two fences? Leaves, debris? I know it's inside the property, so it's just something you have.
It's not. In our history with our other fence, electric fence, which is on 4th Street, which is a cyclone fence, trash normally doesn't get in there, but we would keep the trash up. Our concern is the vegetation so that it doesn't short circuit the electric wires. So we have our maintenance guys go in and weed eat around there. Our goal is to keep it very nice and beautiful. Like she said, we're getting ready to paint it and clear out the debris. We've spent $80,000 removing junk from the back of it, taking down trees, putting in new electrical, moving our shop equipment into it. So we have probably about another $25,000 in the budget to paint the building, beautify the area, and I think it's a great idea to take down the barbed wire.
Thank you.
Just one more thing on the maintenance. Being the owners of the fence, we do come out, we service it, and we take care of any weeds that would grow up as well. We provide herbicides, so that's part of our provisions.
I approve the application on the basis that the project complies with the regulations and guidelines of the Downtown Design District zoning ordinance as referenced in sections C and D of the staff report, with the condition that the applicant obtain a variance from the Board of Adjustment from the fence type, material, and height regulations, and also that they remove the barbed wire from the top of the fence.
Second?
It's a Richards Bates motion. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. That passes.
Provide a recommendation of approval to the Board of Adjustment for a variance to the fence type, material, and height regulations.
Second?
Richards Bates. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So that is approved. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we already covered 7As. That leaves item 8. You've all been furnished the administrative approval report in advance. There for information. If there's any questions, now's the time. Otherwise, move on to comments from staff.
We have a meeting next month, so please check your calendars. Make sure you're going to be able to be there. It's going to be a gangbuster. We got lots of items.
Oh, boy.
I will not be there. I will be out of town.
I will also be out of town.
Okay.
So we'll have to...
What day are we looking
The 19th, the third Thursday. Thank you.
I'll
Okay.
be here. So we'll need to check with...
We'll need to
Chuck
contact
and Tony.
our other members, because keep in mind, we're still down to 6. So we need 4, so hopefully the other 2 will be available, and if not, then we'll once again be looking at having to do a special meeting.
Any update on filling the 7th seat?
I got one to talk to you about. She said yes.
Okay. Have her give me her info. Thank you.
Any other comments from committee members? Okay, Nick.
Well done on first meeting as chair. Yeah.
It's good. It's good to have a lot of help. All right. I read my notes in advance that Lisa gave me, and it says I can unilaterally adjourn the meeting, so we are adjourned.